When was the last time you felt in control of your business finances? Expenses tracked, invoices sent, taxes ready. That's where Found comes in. Found brings your banking, bookkeeping, invoicing, and taxes together in one simple app. Manage expenses, invoice clients, send payments, and prep for tax time right where you bank. Join the hundreds of thousands who have already streamlined their finances with Found. Open a Found account for free at found.com. That's Found.com. Found is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services provided by Lead Bank, member FDIC.
You're all right. You might be looking at the name of this show thinking, Daily Update 292, where's the other 291? Well, they're all on Patreon, mate. Patreon's a monthly subscription service where it costs you £3.50 or £3 a month, depending on where you live. It changes it. Not like area in the UK, but in the world. But it should be about £3 a month. But because I've put this one out for free, because it's a very long one, thought you might want to hear it, because it's all stuff that you could find on Reddit if you went and found me on Reddit anyway. I'm just reading through some of them bits that I've wrote over the years. And I thought you might enjoy it. I don't know if you will. But if you do, try me Patreon, mate. You might have noticed if you're listening to this on the day it's gone out in November, there may even still be a few free spaces left on my Patreon. I've left it open for 100 people to take a quote, gift from me for a month free of Patreon. And that gets you access to all of the podcasts on there, the vlogs, everything basically on there for that tier. The pound tier below doesn't get you that, but this gets you access to everything. You can give it a taste, see if you like, be a bit, that's for me, that's for me. Or if you're just going to go, not for me, not my kind of thing, far too paranoid, bit too out there, not enough dead rats, which is fine, but you might enjoy it. So you might as well see if there's any free ones. And if there's not a free one, if you're listening to this a little bit later in the year, and it's before New Year's Eve 2024, there is a discount running on there. So if you use the discount code BEARAT, BEARAT, I'll put it in the description below as well, and a link to it. That'll give you 66% off your first month. Nice little Christmas gift. Do you know what I mean? A quid in my pocket and £2 still in yours. Although it probably is £1 that you wouldn't have spent, £2 you wouldn't have spent anyway. But it'd be nice if you did, if you gave it a go, because there's loads of stuff on there that you might enjoy. Hopefully you enjoy this. Obviously on the Patreon version, there's no adverts slipped in it. I will be slipping a couple of baked in adverts in here. Don't know what they'll be advertising. Maybe cars, maybe funeral plans, maybe, possibly, even little TVs or something Christmassy, toys or something. Who knows? But if obviously there's loads of stuff on my website, loads of stuff. I've been making loads of Christmas stuff. Fucking stuff out of toes, stuff out of beaks, stuff out of skin. This is nothing to do with any of that. This is all about Low Stakes Conspiracies, a Reddit sub that I really enjoy, where you can just leave conspiracies that are low stakes. Or silly. I look at it more as here's some silly conspiracy theories. I really enjoy it. This is me reading some of them and some of the reactions that some of them got. I hope you like it. If you do, try the Patreon. At least try it for free as well if you can still get the free access. If not, try it for the £1. The discount code's in the description below and the link to my Patreon. I hope you enjoy this. Here you go. This is episode 292 of my daily update series from Patreon. You alright? So there's a subreddit that I really like on Reddit, obviously, called LowStakesConspiracies. And I seem to have upset maybe 2 people today very, very quickly. So I don't know if that's going to mean that I've upset more people slowly through the day. But like you go on there and you put in low stakes conspiracies, or just, which I read as stupid conspiracies that aren't necessarily evil or sinister. And like one example that I've put up is taxi drivers instinctively know where you want to go before you tell them. It's stupid, isn't it? That's not the one that's upset people, though. The one that seems to have upset people today is this. It's using, the stuff I've been seeing online. I just, whatever's topical, I then make a conspiracy about it in the hopes that they'll go to my page on there and see, like, oh, he's got a podcast about conspiracies. Let's have a gander at that. I've put all the women online claiming they will be abstaining from sex with men due to recent political happenings is actually a very tactical ploy to help increase their friends' OnlyFans revenues, which I think's good. It's a good little conspiracy. It's very low stakes. It takes away, all of the high stakes of the actual reasonings. This what the sub's for. First response. Is this sub just going to turn into casually misogynistic statements for the next few weeks? That's got 5 upvotes. Haha, next few weeks. This will be the new normal. But don't forget the racism, LGBTQ phobia, and all the other terrible things the recently emboldened will flood subs with. That's got 5 upvotes. And then the original person's responded to that one with, acting like this vitriolic losers won't stop is only going to empower them. Which isn't really even a sentence that makes any sense. I don't understand what it means anyway. Someone else has said, wow, thanks for making perfectly clear why this movement is gaining so much ground out of seemingly nowhere. I don't know if that's sarcasm off there in on the joke with me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't get why it's annoyed people. Obviously, you know, the real things about abortion and that, and should women be allowed to have abortions or something, or should we make them have kids? You know, I don't care either way. Really, I've got no opinion on it whatsoever. You know what I mean? I can't have a kid. Not like fire one out of myself, or, you know, pop one out. It's not really my thing. I don't know, care, or understand. So, you know, I don't have an opinion on it. It's just the recent thing that's going on. Here's a stupid reason why they're doing that. That's the whole point of the sub. I can look for other things other people have put in there, so you get an idea. It's a really good sub. Usain Bolt claimed he ate thousands of chicken nuggets a day to cover the future drug testing fines. Fucking hell, it's hard to read. I've not written them all, obviously. Phone keyboards have gotten more difficult to type on. I actually agree with that. I think something has changed with them. I think they bounce around on the screen. Locksmiths wander around your house during the day, which is quite a good one. So some of these are very much more low stakes than what I put up there, to be fair. I will read you some of mine. Maybe this could become a weekly thing where I tell you about all these I've put on. The rumours of a sort of radiated mercury leaking from energy-saving light bulbs was peddled to help sell the last of the normal light bulbs around the time they were made illegal. Which, if you remember, the conspiracy heads should remember, that energy-saving light bulbs, we were told online and by lots and lots of people across the internet, that they actually leak a type of mercury into the air, some form of radiated mercury, airborne mercury, that'll affect your brainwave and your brain activity and make you a bit more docile. What else have we put? I put CPR and defibrillators don't actually do anything. Sometimes people just get an extra life. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the nature of them. That's what it's good should be. Which I like the idea of that as well. You know, like fucking all these people pushing like staying alive, like they're doing that on someone's chest. But maybe off rhythm, so staying alive, staying alive, staying alive, staying alive, and the person's just flopping around really violently on the ground, and then someone comes out of an ambulance, goes stop, and just throws a few gold rings on them, and then they just bounce back up. The council predominantly plant deciduous trees so that every 12 months you see their workers move the leaves, and you're reminded they do a job as you bounce past them thanks to the potholes they've ignored. People like that one. That seemed to be an okay one, which again, you know, I would say that's about the same as the women and the OnlyFans one, really, in terms of importance, because obviously a council does a lot of stuff. If you were going to be offended by everything, surely you'd be like, well, actually, there's social workers, and they protect our children by taking children out of potentially loving homes and giving them to paedophiles. Do you know what I mean? So it's fucking... towns pay for their sports teams to lose so that they don't have to deal with extra police budgets, riots and increased hooliganism, which I think is a possibility, you know, because it makes sense, doesn't it? Think about it, how only big cities and big towns tend to have good football teams in the UK. You'd have like Stockport County is not doing great, do you know what I mean? Neither is Stockport. You know, there's other football clubs. Leeds United was a big team, and then Leeds isn't that big of a city really in comparison to like Manchester, so to speak, or even, you know, further into like Yorkshire, and it's just an idea. Granulated sugar in cigarettes are actually superfoods, and they don't want you consuming them. That's why they repeat to kids in school that they're bad for you. Which, again, makes a lot of sense to me, because that's one of the main things I remember about being in school. I think about it every single day. Every single day, without fail, I think about this woman that came to me school when I was only a little kid, and she brought in loads and loads of plastic little bags of sugar and tried to show us how much sugar is in a can of Coke, in a spoonful of honey, is in a spoonful of sugar, and all that sort of thing to compare them. Think about that all the time. They're trying to be like, don't eat sugar. Sugar's really bad for you. Do you know what fucking loves sugar? Bees. Ants. Ants love sugar. You've never seen an unproductive ant. Have you ever seen an old ant? I've never seen an old ant. Ants can lift, fucking 5,000 times their own body weight. You'd have to be fucking daft if you thought sugar's not a superfood. Cigarettes as well. You know, I've known loads of people who smoke into old age, and I know lots of other people who've died young who never smoked. Do you know what I mean? So there's something there, isn't there? Like, people that don't have sugar and cigs look a bit ill, I think. Like, I don't have cigs anymore, and I feel like I look ill all the time. They specifically bred bacteria to be weak to hot water so that we, the public, have to use our boilers more, meaning they get more of our money. People didn't like that one either, because they were like, actually, I'm a scientist, and actually bacteria is real, you see, because bacteria has to exist at different temperatures, because you could just say, well, if that's the case, you're just using water to move it away, you just need to be hot water to wash your hands. I'm a scientist, you don't have to use hot water to wash your hands, you can just use cold water, you see. There's a lot of that on there. Batteries are the same at each end. They just made a deal with Big Coil years ago to help sell more springs. See, I like that one as well. People couldn't really... Let's have a look at the comments on that. Some people get in on the joke, which is pretty good. The coil is pretty small. 2, if you put a 9-volt battery on your tongue, it'll hurt a little, but flip it the other way and it'll make you feel good. No idea what that means, really. You're just licking the bottom of a battery. The spring is there to maintain proper contact on both sides of the battery, not anything to do with the battery itself. And someone's put that's what the big spring conglomerates want you to think. And then they also do a very poor job at enforcing polarity. In fact, some springs will cause your AA battery to become stuck in the slot if you put it the wrong way. Edit. This just made me realise the actual conspiracy is that electric companies are colluding with spring companies to stop polarity reversible tech and make the battery get stuck so you damage the spring while forcing it out and have to buy a new one. And then he's put /S for sarcasm. Like, this is the thing, man. It's a very, very strange subreddit where it's like only the people that post on there are in on the joke of these aren't real things we believe. These are low-stakes conspiracies that we've made up to poke fun at conspiracy. But then people read them and for some reason just take it as, this is real. Oh my God, this guy believes this. It's bizarre. It's fucking weird. Football tournaments all happen within a 2-week period, then they get access to play on the pitch for the physical spectators each week. And my rationale behind that was because if they didn't do that, surely people would kidnap the wives of these footballers and the children of these multi-million pounds worth people, and they'd just go in and rob their house every week while they're on the pitch. This one, I really enjoyed this one. This one annoyed some people. Instagram's logo is a washing machine because that is where people air their dirty laundry. That's a fucking great one that I did, I think. Because it's very clearly a camera. I know it's a camera, but that gets the older people as well. In the old logo, you can clearly see it's a camera. And then people, tell me you've never done laundry without telling me you've ever done laundry. Absolute nonsense. It's a frigging camera, dude. And people just don't get it. Whereas that gets downvoted. Whereas for some reason calling me a misogynist and that gets upvoted, which is bizarre. This one did really well. We're supposed to sleep vertically, hung by the armpits. The only reason we don't is because they want to sell more nappies for babies. Then we just get used to sleeping horizontally by the time we don't need them. We wouldn't need nappies if we could dangle babies by their arms. We'd just need a bucket / some newspaper underneath them on the ground. And people really seem to enjoy that one and argue amongst themselves under it. And then just people saying, where's the evidence for this? It's just bizarre, man. It's one of them really weird subreddits. I fully recommend it to you all. It's a very weird subreddit, LowStakesConspiracies. You can just make stuff up on there. It's mint. And then, it's a joke. You say silly things on there. The numbers that dentists chant to the dental nurse are simply coded messages that the previous dentist left etched in the back of your teeth during your previous visit. Thought of that one whilst I'd just been to the dentist. Street lights were paid for by Big Bat to make finding insects in the dark easier. See, I thought that was mint, because obviously bats are blind, so they can't see the light, but insects gather around the lights. I actually thought about that one. That one came to me when I was in my mother-in-law's back garden as a bat swooped over me head, and I thought, this is why they have street lights, so that the bats can find the flies easier. Toothpaste only exists to help sell toothbrushes. Quite like that one, because that's fucking ridiculous. They underfill packets of bacon so that you're cornered into buying eggs, black pudding and sausage to bulk out the rest of the breakfast. Trees were created by an alien race to terraform the planet. By destroying them, we're saving ourselves. That one I think annoyed people. Well, that's weird. It's just there we go. I feel like regardless of your opinion on climate change, the stakes here are pretty high. Nah, bro, I'm going to sit this one out. I knew supporting big deforestation was a huge win for the humanity. Got to slash and burn all those rainforests to make place for them cows. Eating burgers while kicking alien ass. Woohoo! These stakes are underground, my friend, let alone low. These stakes seem awfully high. See, maybe I'm not very good as well. I do understand that I'm not very good at working out what's actually scary and what isn't. They invented clothes so that they could sell fabric and string. They invented horseshoes so that they could hear a revolution approach the castles and forts from further down the road, which I thought was a really fucking good idea, because otherwise the horses might not make as much noise in it, but without the clanging of the metal. What else have we got? People only throw birthday parties for their young children because they're subtly bragging that they've had sex. That got a lot of downvotes, that one. People weren't that keen on that one. I'll read you the comments. Someone's just put lol. I literally only have kids so you know I've had sex. 2 kids equals sex twice. What? People only have sex to brag about having sex. This isn't low point conspiracies. I don't get it. You're not being serious. That got a downvote. Like that's this. Why would you be serious? You're not supposed to be serious. Unless I've completely misunderstood the subreddit. This might be another subreddit I'll get banned out of. I'll be gutted if I get banned out of this one. Fucking mortified. I really like this one. I get banned out of a lot. I've been banned out of loads over the years. Then this brings up many disturbing questions about why people do this for their pets, and I've put they're just weirdos. As in to say that they're just weird people, and that got downvoted. The presence of children would imply unprotected sex, which is embarrassing, which is a weird thing to say. The prawn crackers at the bottom of the bag are just polystyrene, because no one ever eats a full packet of prawn crackers in it, so you could just put polystyrene ones down there. A cheeseburger is a perfectly square meal. It uses every part of the food pyramid. People didn't like that one because they're all trying to tell me the food pyramid is actually wrong. It's not actually real. It should be more sort of inverted and trapezium in shape, not a pyramid. All that sort of shite. Cabbage is just unripened lettuce. People sort of like that one. This one got a lot of downvotes. It is both more cost-effective and time-effective to microwave each bean in the tin individually, which I thought was a fucking mint one. The idea that someone's taking out beans by the bean out of a tin and then just popping them down on the microwave. And then they've got to, they get halfway through and they're like, oh, fucking hell, they're cold again. So they're having to wrap them all up in tinfoil. Revenge is a dish best served cold. Was coined by the mob to help people associate gazpacho with positive things. Vegetables were invented to circumvent the difficulty of eating soil, which again I really like that one. I think that's a really good one. The fella they named the Bob haircut after is furious. I like that as well. I like the guy. Like a woman's haircut's called a bob, and they're like, oh, we'll name that after him over there. We'll call it Bob after him, just to annoy him. They came up with the word cahoots to make conspiracies appear less sinister. Handshakes are deeply sexual, and the clandestine groups like the Masons have discovered how to orgasm with them, and that's why they all do business dealings with each other, because of the secret sexual gratification. Should we read the comments on that one? I imagine that'd be quite good. And I've added also at the bottom, they use terms to try and tell us subtly, like a quick off the wrist and finger on the pulse. Someone's wrote, wait, so the meme of, oh no, their hand holding was a subtle way of exposing the hand Masons all along. We are simply exchanging long protein strings. If you can think of a simpler way, I'd like to hear it. It makes no difference which one of us you vote for. I don't understand them three. This is why this sub exists. Upvote. Only if you press the right knuckle. Checks username, because he's called 3 Knuckles. This guy has met Vulcans. My ex's dad was a Freemason. He had a sword and all the get-up. Strangely enough, thinking about it, he never shook my hand. I feel like I'm missing out. Someone's put, ew, no. Weird as it sounds, I don't know where I've heard it before. Any proof or source? I've put just a hunch. If you'd like to know more ideas, though, I suggest truth-seeking. I said, that's a good one. I said, truth-seeking's a podcast. I wasn't being facetious. Little subtle ways to advertise the shows, do you know what I mean? That's what it's all about, isn't it, really? Coffee only makes you feel alert because your body goes into fight or flight as you're gulping hot water into yourself. This got downvoted. Iced coffee, I said fight, flight or freeze. That got more upvotes than what the post got. Take 4 scoops of pre-workout in cold water and tell me you still think this. I get tired if I drink hot water. Next time, heat up a glass of cream and see how much it wakes you up. Someone's put, it burnt my tongue and now I'm wide awake. It also hurts. No one needs to eat. We're all just horrendously addicted to the naturally occurring chemicals in foodstuff, so we die from withdrawal if we don't have them for long enough. That got more upvotes than what I thought it would. It's fucking people talking about breatharianism. They move the Olympics every year because they need an excuse to dig up the ground to hide something. They made doctors start using forehead and tongue thermometers because heat rises. So when doctors used an anal thermometer, they would get lower temperature readings, and it'd seem like people were too healthy and doctors would get laid off of work, which is maybe one of my favourites because it's stupid in like three ways. Like the idea that heat rises so your arse wouldn't be as warm as your forehead even though your arsehole is inside of you. Plus the idea that doctors would get laid off if people become healthier, so they want people to seem iller, so they measure the temperature higher up in the body. Hoteliers spread the rumours of people pissing in the kettle so that you'll buy a brew from the bar in the morning. And someone's didn't know this was a rumour at all. And I thought that was a normal thing to believe. I don't like using the kettles in hotels. I'm very, very rarely in an hotel, but skin is dangerous. That's why tortoises live for so long compared to all other creatures. I'm going back 3 months now with these. So the next ones of these, I might do these every now and then, reading through the old ones. But someone said if you die, you were silenced by Big Derma. Anesthetic is fake. The needles are just long and thin enough to hit the reset button. Songs repeat their title in them a lot so that you can remember what it's called. When people say "you see" at the end of a sentence, they're actually saying "you see," and the C stands for cunt. They make us wet naan breads so that the tap water can activate. They make us wet naan breads so that the tap water can activate a chemical within the famous Indian food stuff. You know, because you've got to sprinkle water on a naan bread before you eat it, or before you put it in the oven. Fairy liquid is made from over-farming and grinding up the fairies into a paste. It's secretly the nut milk of the dairy world in terms of cleaning products. Florists were putting MRSA into bouquets so they could sell more bundles of plants to the worried loved ones. That didn't do very good. Someone's put crazy, someone's put that's not low stakes, which it is. Do I have more? We're made to wear trousers so that our flatulence gets filtered, ensuring only the gaseous particles are introduced to the public, because basically just a very clever way of saying you need to wear trousers in case you shit yourself. I imagine the comments were probably pretty good on that. This is what I'm here for. Speak the truth, brother. Does this mean chaps, assless chaps, though I hear all chaps are assless, are anti-trousers since they don't filter out flatulence? Someone saying you should wear them to make a stand. Should we rename pants to fart filters now? Someone said, speak for yourself, I shit my pants all the time. Red standby lights are a lie. They're red to tell you the device is now recording. Orange standby lights are the real ones. No comments on that one. Your dentist isn't off work or ill. None of them exist. No one has a real dentist. We only ever have locums. Freelance dentists of fortune who travel down town to town taking each other's place, hunched over a stranger's face, never bonding. I don't know what the comments are. Someone's saying this is true for some. This is what I mean. People just oblivious to what the sub is. I must have been obsessed with the standby lights because there's been a few of these. I've skipped one. The standby light stays on after a telly gets turned off at the wall for 30 seconds to make you stand by the TV. Everybody else makes up a new name when they introduce themselves to someone new. Yeah, I like the idea of that. Like every time you meet somebody new, you've got to use a new name. Like I'm Dave, and the other person's like I'm Janet. You're like, oh, fantastic. Janet, this is what's your name? And he's like, Frank. Hiya, Frank. And like, nice to meet you. Oh, nice to meet you, Frank. I'm Janice. You know, just slight changes. And be a nightmare situation. Cigarettes aren't unhealthy if you smoke them from the other end. They just show it one way around in the films to make the more cinematic smoke colour. Hippies invented army camouflage by messing about with the leftover colours in the paint packs after doing colourful tie-dyes. Water takes ages to reach the treatment centre. If it passes through a couple of filters after your plug hole toilet and makes its way to the next house over. That's why the people at tops of hills can sell their houses for more money. The secret in the Secret Service is that its members aren't aware that they're acting on their behalf, often making use of the nation's sleepwalkers. Some of them I don't even understand, so I can understand why other people have looked at them and gone, "Oh, I don't like this." TV only exists so people can make small talk rather than talk each other into rebellion. Yourself is the name of a powerful and ancient demon, and when people say just be yourself, they're accidentally invoking him and giving him access to our dimension. They didn't want us having dogs anymore because they are susceptible to sound weapons being used to make us commit crimes against our will. We will know we're not crazy because the dog will react to it too. That got a lot of downvotes, but a lot of comments. People saying I'd hate to. It's just low stakes, not batshit. So it's fun. It's a fun little place. The CK in Louis CK's name is an allusion to his secret time in the armed forces, where he got a confirmed kill in every firefight he took part in. The government started releasing parakeets in the UK to make breeding pet ones a less viable career choice. Because I'd been seeing some parakeets. Chicken tikka masala from an Indian is just tomato soup with chunks of chicken in. But through the combined powers of faith and hope, our brains trick us into believing it tastes like the curry that we expected. The Aurora Borealis over England this weekend is just another attempt to dismantle the overseas holiday industry. Another feather in the cap for the staycation brigade. I didn't realise I've been doing these for so long. We only see ghosts from the Victorian era onwards in the UK because that's when we started to use cremation a lot more, causing some of the disruption to whatever it is that happens when a person dies. Classical music is free to use in entertainment because there are frequencies within it that activate sleeper agents. All roads lead to Rome was drummed up by the Italian Tourist Board. They've purposely bred dogs to be allergic, in brackets, get poisoned by / weak to popular human food so that we can be sold dog food rather than just eating our leftovers. The TV show 1% Club is a psyop to make people associate the term 1% Club with intelligence, a way to subtly change public perception of the real 1% so that they're trusted by the public. And then in a sub called Schizo Posters, I've put, anyone else ever worry that they are going to start making tins unstackable so that it's harder to hoard food and so that they can sell us more shelves and cupboards? People just going on about insects to me on the... There's still more. I've still got more to go. This is nearly 25 minutes. We'll carry on. They make tinfoil insulate heat so that when you wear it to protect against radio waves, it becomes uncomfortable, meaning you have to take it off so that they can get to you before any significant change is made to your brain activity. The Guinness Book of Records exists to make people believe it's difficult and or unusual to eat things that aren't made from food. We'll never run out of food for the world because there'll always be more and more people around to grow it. We'll never run out of food for the world because there'll always be more and more people around to grow it. Which I think that's a fucking mint one. That's going to have some good comments. I think you're missing the point when people say we'll run out of food. Someone said no. This is more of a low intelligence conspiracy. Technology and selective breeding / genetic engineering to improve yields per acre of land is the answer you were looking for. There are already people who don't have enough food. Someone's put, why don't they grow it? They're stupid. Someone said, are you eating the people? Someone's put, if this is a joke, it's pretty funny. See, they get it. Some people get that you're taking the piss. I think that's what the sub's for. Toilet roll manufacturers are behind the 3 meals a day propaganda. They began to introduce square meals in the food pyramid, and are even responsible for sandwiches being sold in triangles, all as a ploy to stop us paying attention to their cylinders' control over our eating habits. I don't really understand that one. People seem to in the comments, but I don't understand what they're saying. Tomato sauce and salad cream are the same sauce, just with different food colourings. Something definitely eats sharks, and regularly, otherwise they wouldn't have evolved to have eyes on the sides of their heads. They'd be much closer together if they truly were as mean as we're all led to believe. Have we got any more? Let me see. That might be the first one I ever put on there. No, it's not. 8 months ago. Now I've been doing this now for nearly a year. There is an agency employed by Big Pharma to travel the UK severing toes off of random pigeons to make them seem less appetising. Just so you know, so you don't eat wild pigeons. Also, pigeon keyrings are back on the website if you're interested. The Blitz in England during World War II was an inside job. The explosives were already concealed in the buildings already. Other bombs were possibly shipped into houses through gas pipes and water lines. This one pissed people off. Doesn't seem low stakes. Yeah, this would actually be really serious if true. 40,000 dead is apparently low stakes. Not for my father's family. Bombed out and then had their house looted. Not only is this not low stakes, but it is also one of the dumbest things I have ever read in this sub and trivialises the death of thousands. What motivation would the British government have for killing 40,000 of its own civilian population in the middle of a war? Even if there were a good reason, what a waste of munitions in a war where resources were scarce. I answered that with, I'm just guessing, but what if it was to encourage people to make use of the underground shelters? Maybe there had been concern about a subterranean species revolting or planning to move to ground level, and the humans needed to inhabit the land underneath for a while to prove it was still being used. So this unknown hypothetical species of subterranean dwelling creature might think twice before taking the land beneath us. And that person has then answered this with, and this is low stakes, but even if this were true, most of those shelters weren't really more than 6 feet beneath the ground. Is that really subterranean? Footings of buildings are dug deeper than that. So to play this out, the government knew about this species, so built bombs into the houses, many of which were built 50 to 100 years, if not older, before those bombs went off. So if it wasn't an urgent matter to address, and the rest of the war, we're still at war with the Germans, with the planes that came over fake, and this subterranean species are expanding, but only if we aren't using the land too much. Why couldn't we fight the subterranean species instead of blowing up our own buildings and people? And I just decided to be the bigger man, and not answer them. How do you explain the German planes? Someone's put unidentified aerial phenomena. The architects and big construction. Big builder and big pipe, I've wrote underneath. Big pipe bombs. Someone else has wrote. Is there a high stakes conspiracies this could go in? Someone's wrote, which is no, I won't read the boring ones anymore, the comments. The concept of healthy eating was drummed up by conservative racists who hated the idea of so many successful takeaway businesses that are ran by and employ foreign people. A lot of comments on this. Someone's put, this is nuts. Someone's put, nuts are a health food, you're one of them. Someone's put, it tracks with Reddit's audience though. Wouldn't be surprised if this got mass upvoted on one of those political subs. Finally, a way to own my know-it-all woke vegan ogre sister. Eating kale is racist, right? It's mint. Usually with the conspiracies on this sub, it's pretty clear the link between some is caused by something, but I have absolutely no clue how healthy eating and foreign businesses are related. So I've explained it. By encouraging people to eat healthily, they won't be eating as many takeaways, if any. A lot of takeaways are run by and employ people who have moved to the country. That means less customers for them, making it a less viable career option, all under the guise of tricking/manipulating people into thinking they're doing something positive. And then someone's put wanting to be healthy is racist. I said, someone's put you just aren't woke enough to understand what he's saying. And then in brackets, I'm not either. Yeah. There is a line of thought that unironically says yes, and I have seen some real people say it online, obviously, but in video form from people who are anti-fat phobia activists who put their names and faces and stomachs out, so most of them aren't just online trolls. Healthy is a dog whistle for thin, so wanting to be healthy is wanting to be thin. Wanting to be thin is fat phobic because you're perpetuating untrue stereotypes, that being thin is attractive and healthy. Fat phobia is inherently anti-black because I guess black people are disproportionately fat or something. They don't really explain why, though. Not be that silly things like reason matter to them. And then someone putting being anti-black is racist. That's all like their ideas, their points. It's fucking mint. It's a fucking mint sub. Guys, this is the joke conspiracy sub. Just laugh and move on. See, that's a fucking sick guy. People just get fucking annoyed on it, man. Annoyed. Global warming isn't... sorry. Movies are only made with a beginning, middle and end because they never used to have enough film to make a fourth section. I quite like that one. Epilogue would like a word. Epilogue's just a fancy word for the end, someone's put. Global warming isn't real. The reason the ice caps are smaller is because the rich people's ancestors used to harvest the ice to sell in their home countries. It never reformed and now they have the money and influence to hide the truth. Someone's put, this is extremely ridiculous and also not low stakes. Congratulations, this is the dumbest one I've read in a while. I put, they did used to harvest large amounts of ice though and bring it to cities to melt it. This is so dumb on so many levels, but it's true though. It's genuinely true. Rich people used to go to places where the water was frozen, where there was loads of ice. They used to collect the ice and then bring it back, which is madness. To think about, it makes no sense, but that's a factual thing that people don't seem to know is real. Simply Red's original version of Holding Back the Years was written for his mum, who had baked a wedding cake for a friend's kid that refused to pay the agreed amount. His label told him holding back the tears wasn't acceptable to people outside of the baking world. And then in the comments, additionally, the band's name was also inspired by the fact she only had one bottle of food colouring left, and I'm fairly sure that Bob Holdness played the sax on that track. Well, that just takes the cake. Didn't she abandon him? Getting serious again on there. The kerfuffle over AI porn is being spearheaded by fan fiction writers. I imagine this has got people annoyed. I feel like this warrants an explanation. I would try to explain, but my stepsister is stuck in the washing machine. No, it's not as good. Big Brother is a real bloke. That's quite a generic one. 9/11 wasn't conducted by terrorists, but was actually a demonstration of mutually assured destruction brought about by a long-standing rivalry between the staff of each tower. Building 7 and the attempt at the Pentagon were unrelated terrorist attacks. Because there, what I've done is I've not denied that terrorists did what they were doing, but that the towers, they were just at war with each other. Menstrual cycles are always aligned in women. They just don't realise it until they talk to each other, and then they believe they've synced up. Bad women's anatomy. They make us insulate our houses not to save the earth, but to help develop mould cultures to euthanise populations. Let's see if there's any more. How long have I been doing these for? They invented dinosaurs to put people off the idea of developing time travel. Crisps were invented as a cost-effective way to acclimatise the public to fake flavours so that they can start to make people, every time I say they, it's a capital T, by the way, so that they can start to make people think the faux foods taste a certain way due to the colour of the packaging. Because then they can just make us believe, oh, it's prawn cocktail flavour, this thing I'm eating, because it's in a pink packet. What else? They are gradually making dogs illegal so that they can control revenue streams and prevent people from monetising videos of their pets. Forgers have Stephen Hawking on the list. Forgers got Stephen Hawking on the list so that Russell T Davies will backtrack on his decision about Davros. That was so that because they decided that Davros shouldn't seem like he's on wheels or something anymore because it's offensive apparently. And so like, if you make Stephen Hawking seem evil, then it's okay to have Davros. The aliens spotted in Miami weren't actually grey. That's about the Miami Mall incident. This is putting a time now on where these were. They now suggest 2 glasses of wine a night for pregnant women because less young people are drinking and they're trying to produce babies that will grow up to drink. This will have some good comments. No professional suggests for a pregnant woman to drink. 2 glasses isn't a drink though, it's barely alcoholic. When they say not to drink, they mean like not a box of Cabaret Sauvignon. The vast majority of professionals will advise to abstain from alcohol, full stop, and no one ever said to drink 2 glasses a day, which is what this post said. We've yet to figure out just how much alcohol causes FAS, so it's recommended to just not drink any at all. Jesse, what the fuck are you talking about? Who the fuck says this, mate? Stop with the opium. You should, mate, have your fingers crossed that no one is pregnant and takes this seriously. Why, who would? Who's they? And then I've answered with doctors and that. I'd like to see a citation. It's fucking mad. But this was a thing they were saying. I saw stuff saying that doctors are now saying you can have 2 glasses of wine if you're pregnant. They just weren't suggesting that you should. They're saying that you probably can. Ducks never made an onomatopoeic quack, but we've secretly selectively bred them until we get it close. The mesh inside the kettle is as sufficient as a Brita filter for filtering tap water. Wind is physical sound waves. Wind on a pond looks a lot like when you slap a tuning fork and put it in a cup of coffee. The extra-dimensional entities push the idea of new year, new you and exercise/dieting in January because of all the happiness in December. They want to rebalance the books so that they can feed off the remorse from people breaking their diets and from the guilt of them not going to the gym. The driver's seats of cars are in that position to remind the driver if oncoming traffic gets too close, they'll both die. If people sat on the opposite side to drive, they'd be more reckless, needlessly endangering their passengers. In quotes, for a laugh. And someone's put, because it allows you to see better. I've just seen a great picture I've made on there as well on the Buffy subreddit. I was watching Buffy this time last year, and it's just a picture of Buffy but with David Duchovny's facial features, and it says Buffy the Vampire Slayer starring David Duchovny, which I don't think is funny, and no one enjoyed it. It's mad looking at stuff you did like a year ago and just seeing what was going on in your head. There are only 360 days in a year, but when originally dictated to take the notes were being taken by a guy nicknamed as Five, and the dictator of knowledge couldn't believe that Five was asking such a simple question, and in a surprised, slightly sarcastic tone, the dictator responded, 655. Because as if the guy said to him, how many days are in a year, dear dictator, and the guy's called Five who asked that question. It's very difficult. Someone's put literally 10 minutes after ripping my bong, I came across this post. Ted Kaczynski's real grievance was with the American Postal Service. He had had it in for their workers as they kept opening his parcels and stealing the contents. Airports hire lots of drama students and amateur actors to make them seem busier. This helps stem the questions from the public surrounding the flashing lights in the sky at night. People just assume it must be aeroplanes because there was loads of people in the airport when I last went there. One on the news, or saw one on the news. There's a good possibility nobody knows what those lights are, and in order to stop the general public from living in fear, they pretend there's a lot more flights. The reason why we haven't evolved the power to feel wetness is because we've slowly evolved to ignore it because the other side of our skin is constantly wet. I'm thinking that maybe we evolved to tune it out, and has led to us being able to concentrate on developing an inner monologue and consciousness in general. Someone said, I sure can feel wetness, like when it's raining. I know it's raining. What did you smoke before typing this out? It's good, isn't it, though? Some of them are mint, some of them just fall dead. They domesticated, bred, and promoted canines as companions. You can see I'm obsessed with the idea that they're going to take our dogs off of us. I think it's because my dog gets ill sometimes, and I panic there thinking I'm not going to have a dog anymore. They domesticated, bred, and promoted canines as companions fairly recently as a means of psychologically trapping a person in their country, helping to dismantle the holiday trade whilst also bolstering the staycation. Do I have any more? That might be the first one I've put in there. It looks like it could be. Oh no, there's more. There's no flavour in the dried tea in tea bags. That's just for the colour. All the flavour is from the material the bag is made from. Bleach companies adding bacteria food into their compounds so that when the bacteria you scooped up on the cloth is removed, there is an abundance of food left for the 0.01% of bacteria to feast upon, meaning you have to buy more bleach sooner. Loose lips sink ships was originally said to remind apprentice shipwrights to make sure every wooden lip was tightly sealed. These lips were later replaced with rivets. There's a lot of reading this one. I hope you're enjoying this. I don't know if this is any good. We've gone for nearly 40 minutes. Barbers and hairdressers keep clumps of their own and family members' hair in their palms whilst they're giving haircuts and slowly release it to the ground and body tarpaulin that gets wrapped around you in order to give the illusion they've cut more hair off you, while secretly encouraging you, saying, "Your hair is so thick, I bet this grows quickly," all just to slyly drum up faster repeat business when you start to think your own hair has grown fast again. Car park owners buy cars to fill up free car parks in order to maximise profits in their own car parks, which I think is a fucking genius business move. The reason they conduct wars around the world is to create dust that gets drawn into the jet streams and falls around the world so that they can sell feather dusters and microfiber cleaning rags. They discovered it was lucrative during the 1940 bombing raids. They were using 24-hour photo printing services to find extra-dimensional entities living amongst us /within us. After the success of the Polaroid Spectre, they rolled out those film chemicals internationally. Red eyes in photos were an indicator in some undisclosed way. Maybe you've heard these in podcasts or daily updates already, I've got no idea. We're going back over a year now. What if angels are actually fat, airy blokes and we've been forced to believe they're muscular to cause a sort of opposite to the tulpa effect, and that is what has caused the decline of bumblebees because scientists have convinced us they defy physics? Some of it sounds like I've got schizophrenia. They organised the Reddit strike to close subs because they're going to do something big in the news today or about today. They empty our wheelie bins on different days because it makes it easier for them to go through our rubbish and make notes on our lives. Saves on the backlog by only emptying them fortnightly. The chat up line, get your kit off, stems back to when people used to wear ferrets. Because baby ferrets are called kits. We got any more? There's probably more. Although it's not looking it. Oh no. Eating shit is really good for you, but Big Pharma, with an F, poison it at the source to protect their profits. They tell us the damp and mould makes us ill, and tell us to put damp proofing in our brickwork, not because it makes us ill, but because the moisture in the air affects something hidden about our homes, lessening some sort of variable. I have good comments. That's a lot of ketamine for Sunday night. There's fucking mint. We got any more? Borders exist, but as countries take over one another, with the ethereal border is removed. This is why animals don't just live anywhere. They're stopped by the invisible borders. Otherwise, it wouldn't have taken the owl in America so long to spread around. The borders might be the edges of varying EMFs, as in like electromagnetic frequency fields. Do we have any more? They get few and far between every now and then where I start to advertise my own work. Wheels were invented relatively recently to make people lazier and weaker. The use of the word write in write down was made popular by the inventor of the spiral staircase. Supermarkets and big shops are used to conduct experiments. That's why they have a certain aesthetic / different pricing points. It's to get their target demographic through the door so they can experiment on the public. That's what's in the back rooms, scientists and CCTV screens. Recycling is promoted because it ensures people buy disposable products that need to be replaced regularly. For example, paper cups are easily recyclable, but can only really be used once. Plus, they're cheaper to ship than their heavier plastic equivalent. Recycling is the third R. It's promoted because people are too stupid for the first two. Repair, reuse. Reduce, reuse, recycle is the order of importance. That's not low stakes or a conspiracy. That was literally why the idea of recycling was created. The real conspiracy here is how much recycling is promoted, but how little recycling is actually done. Many governments outsource their recycling to people who sent it to landfill. See, over a year ago, you did used to get people commenting who had actual things to say. And I don't know if I'm part of the ruining the sub, I don't have a clue. Parents boil vegetables to make kids dislike veg so that the kids tell them other meals they cooked were tasty, just to ensure a dopamine hit for the parent from the praise. Celebrities and politicians that force themselves upon dogs are responsible for people thinking loads of celebrities and politicians are actually paedophiles, because they don't want people to know that celebrities are actually fucking dogs instead of kids. Eating shit is perfectly nutritious. I keep going on about this. Eating shit is perfectly nutritious, but Big Pharma don't want to lose profits, so they invested in the production and installation of indoor plumbing rather than risking people dipping into the pit under their outhouse. I want to know what the first one I did was, really. Office jobs were invented to forcibly evolve humans to develop bodies suited for sitting down for extended periods of time to facilitate long-distance space travel, meaning cryogenically freezing people is a myth to keep us off the scent. The concept of dinosaurs was invented by paedophiles in the early 1800s, knowing they'd appeal to children, which would flock to local museums, in effect making the museums the equivalent of a showroom for the prospective paedophiles. They invented double glazing to slowly introduce the older generations to a secluded lifestyle with less exposure to outside. Also, people raised children in quieter environments, all too ready to make people more socially inept. Then later they introduced Pokemon to capitalise of the century and social deprivation and further teach a generation of children that anybody that makes eye contact with someone in a darkened alleyway or secluded woodland is going to fight them. This is now being taken further with the newest Pokemon game, where if you speak to a person they start to fight with you. It's just so happened triple glazing is also being pushed to the public too, meaning they are potentially gearing up for something else, just not sure what it could be. Glazing. Maybe people don't use the term glazing. Justin Timberlake's Crimea River was released to taunt the Russians, which is a very, very clever joke. Very, very clever joke. But not funny, but a clever joke. I think... Should we leave it there? You can find more. I used to post on schizo posters as well. When we say no animal mutilation, is that a big rule? Because I want to show some... Oh, that's just me advertising. Prank phone calls were encouraged by TV shows to increase phone company profits, and since the advent of mobile, they've not had to resort to it. Managers of recycling centres invest in local takeaways, and the journalists working for free newspapers. It ensures a guaranteed extra few tonnes of recycling each month and helps them hit targets. Kids' TV shows are all weird and fantasy-based with mental creatures because it's made to confuse the entities that are allowed to inhibit the body of the child. Fucking hell. I can't guess what the next word's going to be in the things I'm reading, even though I wrote it but like a year and a half ago. Avocado plants make great petrol/diesel alternative fuels, so they promoted them using reality TV stars and Instagram influencers as a luxury food to drive the price up, making them inefficient in regards to the cost as a fuel. Elements of the American Civil War, specifically the Boston Tea Party, are fabricated by coffee manufacturers to turn people against tea and turn them to the anxiety-causing coffee, all as a way of increasing mental health issues, anxiety issues from the coffee, and paranoia in the people that know. Okay, that sounds like I was probably paranoid at that point. That's 2 years ago. I think going back 2 years ago is long enough. I've been at this for a while, innit? So jump into Low Stakes Conspiracies, find some of my posts and have a little flick through them and flick through the comments. I think you'll like them. This has been a big daily update, but I haven't done one all week, really. Been busy making these Christmas bits on the website, so I'll see you in a bit, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. What was your favourite? Let me know in the comments. And there you go, that's an episode from my Patreon. You can let me know in the comments as well if you're listening to this on Spotify. You can leave comments now on Spotify, which is a great way for me to see if people are listening to the shows. And if you are, please leave a comment. Please leave 5 stars and that on it. It'd be mint. Share it, mate. Share it with a friend or something. Maybe, or, try the Patreon, like I said at the start. If you want more episodes, loads more episodes, like this is the 292nd one. Maybe there's more than this now, maybe there's not. But there's probably me reading a book at the minute. I'm reading a book on there called Etiquette for Women, which is all about etiquette for women, obviously, but from like the 1920s or so. So it's all about what women back then had to do and what they had to do to be polite and that. Might sound a bit boring, but I do make some bits up. And it's interesting. I did read World's Strangest Crimes as well from the 1960s on there. That was quite a long one. That's like I don't know, like maybe a 20 episode series or something on there, maybe a little less. It's fucking, there's different things on there. Give it a go. Use the link in the description below and it gets you access to loads of other podcasts. And there's video versions as well of the regular podcasts on here from when I used to record my radio show in the cupboard underneath the stairs. So if you want to watch me sit in a cupboard underneath the stairs, visually sweating, like they're visibly sweating, and very paranoid and cramped in a little cupboard, the cupboard under the stairs that you have. It's the nice bit about them as well is they're not my staircase. That's a staircase that leads directly upstairs to the neighbours. So I like the idea that echoing through that staircase was me, and they're listening to me talk about aliens and how they're all coming to get us and that, and how we're all probably going to die soon because the seas aren't real. If this is your first episode that you've ever listened to, then go through all the other episodes. Thank you for listening. This might be the most professional sound off I've ever done on a podcast, who knows? But I hope you enjoyed it. If not, maybe, still give the Patreon a go. You might enjoy some of the stuff on there. Plus, if you are a Patreon subscriber, you'll get a message off me and all, won't you, to tell you when the next Rat Pencil case is made available, whether you're on the £1 tier, £3 tier, or whatever other tier. There's also a tier on there where I send out magnets. So if you join that tier, you get a couple magnets a month sent to you. So if you're into that, give that a go. I'll see you in a bit, guys. Thank you for listening.